Merry Christmas, Gemini. Today, the universe doesn't come to you with noise, fireworks, or exaggerated promises. It approaches quietly, knowing that you listen better in silence than in chaos. While the world rushes to celebrate, to post, to gather, to prove happiness, the universe slows down just enough to meet you where you truly are. And where you are today may be difficult to explain. Christmas has a strange way of amplifying everything you already feel. If you are joyful, it makes joy louder. If you are tired, it makes exhaustion heavier. And if you are reflective, as Gemini so often is, it turns every thought into an echo. You might be surrounded by people and still feel alone inside your own mind. You might be alone physically, but feeling strangely connected to memories, emotions, and questions that refuse to stay quiet. You might be smiling externally while internally replaying moments from the past year, conversations that changed you, choices that reshaped your path. The universe wants you to know this first, before anything else. You are not experiencing Christmas wrong. Gemini was never meant to experience life in a simple, linear way. You are a sign of layers, of duality, of constant mental motion. While others feel one emotion at a time, you feel several, often at once. And during a season like this, that inner multiplicity becomes impossible to ignore. You may feel grateful and disconnected in the same breath, hopeful and tired at the same time, loving yet distant. This doesn't mean something is broken inside you. It means you are honest enough to feel everything instead of numbing yourself to fit a moment. The universe sees how much mental energy this year has taken from you, how many internal conversations you've had that no one else heard, how often you questioned yourself not because you were weak, but because you cared deeply about understanding the truth of your life. This year asked Gemini to grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, often without clear instructions. You were forced to adapt, to rethink relationships, to reevaluate what truly deserves your attention. And that kind of growth doesn't come quietly. It reshapes you. That's why this Christmas feels different. You're not the same Gemini who celebrated before. You've learned boundaries. You've learned discernment. You've learned that being accessible to everyone comes at a cost, and that cost was often your peace. So if today you feel more reserved, more inward, more observant than expressive, the universe wants to reassure you. This is not regression. This is integration. If you're spending this day with family or people close to you, you might feel an invisible tension between wanting to connect and wanting to retreat. Gemini often carries the unspoken role of communicator, entertainer, mediator. People expect you to talk, to lighten the mood, to bridge emotional gaps. But today, you don't owe anyone a performance. Your presence alone is enough. Connection does not only happen through words. Gemini understands this better than most. You feel energy. You read between lines. You sense emotional undercurrents others miss entirely. Even in silence, you are connected, sometimes more deeply than when you speak. If you find yourself pulling back today, it's not because you don't care. It's because you care enough to protect your internal balance. Emotional overload doesn't make you more loving. It drains you, and the universe does not want you drained at the end of this year. You're allowed to excuse yourself mentally, even if your body remains present. You're allowed to listen more than you speak. You're allowed to take quiet moments alone, even in a full house. And if someone misunderstands that, that's okay. Not everyone is meant to understand the Gemini mind. The universe does. Now, if you are spending this Christmas alone, truly alone, this message leans even closer to you. Loneliness during holidays can feel heavier than at any other time. It can bring comparisons, doubts, and quiet questions about where you stand in life. You may wonder if you made the wrong choices, if you drifted too far from others, or if something essential is missing. But the universe wants to speak clearly here. Being alone today does not mean you are unloved. For Gemini, solitude is rarely empty. It is active. It is mental. It is transitional. Solitude is where your thoughts reorganize, where old versions of yourself dissolve, where new perspectives quietly form without interruption. You are not being punished by life, you are being prepared. Some chapters require silence before clarity arrives. Some transformations need distance before they can fully take shape. And Gemini, more than most signs, transforms through understanding, not force. If today feels quiet, let it be quiet. Don't rush to fill it with noise just to escape discomfort. Sit with yourself. Observe what arises. You may be surprised by what you notice when you stop distracting your mind. This year, you've likely learned that not all connections are meant to last forever. Some were lessons, some were mirrors. Some existed only to teach you what you will no longer tolerate. And while that realization may have left emotional gaps, those gaps are not failures, they are openings. Christmas is not asking you to have everything figured out. It's simply offering you a moment to pause before the year turns, a moment to acknowledge how far you've come, even if the road ahead still feels uncertain. The universe sees how often you've chosen growth over comfort, how many times you questioned old beliefs instead of clinging to them, how you've become more selective, more aware, more intentional with your energy. That awareness can feel isolating at times. When you see more, you tolerate less. When you understand deeper, superficial connections lose their appeal. And during holidays, when surface-level joy is celebrated loudly, Gemini may feel quietly out of place. That's okay. You were never meant to belong everywhere. You were meant to belong where understanding flows naturally. Today, the universe gently invites you not to shut yourself down completely. You don't need to open every emotional door, but don't lock them all either. Allow warmth to exist in small, honest ways. A memory honored without pain, a message sent without expectation, a moment of gratitude without obligation. Love does not need to be loud to be real. And before the year ends, the universe wants you to release one belief that has followed you for too long. The idea that you must always explain yourself. You don't. You don't need to justify your emotional rhythm. You don't need to apologize for needing space. You don't need to dilute your truth to make others comfortable. You are allowed to exist as you are, thoughtful, complex, reflective. Christmas is not a test of happiness. It is a reminder of humanity. And humanity includes contradiction, longing, gratitude, sadness, hope, sometimes all at once. Gemini, you hold all of that naturally. So today, breathe. Let the world rush if it wants to. You don't need to keep pace. The universe is not asking you to be brighter, louder, or different. It's asking you to be gentle with yourself, because this year took more from you than you admit, and there is still more to come. As the day unfolds, Gemini, the universe wants you to understand something subtle but essential. This season is not here to demand joy from you. It is here to reveal truth, and your truth has matured. You are no longer the Gemini who needed constant stimulation to feel alive. You are no longer chasing every conversation, every opinion, every emotional exchange. Somewhere along this year, you learned discernment. You learned that not every thought needs to be shared, and not every emotion needs an audience. That shift may have made you quieter. It may have made others say you changed. But what they often don't realize is that this change was necessary for your survival. Your mind has always been active, fast, curious, but this year forced you to refine it, to choose depth over noise, to protect your attention from fragmentation, to stop scattering your energy in places that gave nothing back. And Christmas arrives not to undo that work, but to validate it. If today you feel more introspective than festive, the universe does not see that as sadness. It sees it as awareness. Awareness of how precious your inner world is. Awareness of how easily you can lose yourself when you give too much, too often, to too many people. So let this be a reminder. You are allowed to be selective with your presence. If you are with family today, notice how your role has shifted. You may feel less inclined to mediate, to explain, to translate emotions between people. That's not detachment, it's self-respect. You are learning that other people's emotional balance is not your responsibility. You can love without fixing. You can care without carrying. You can be present without absorbing everything. That lesson alone has taken you years to learn. And if you feel moments of emotional distance, don't immediately label them as coldness. Sometimes, distance is simply clarity. The ability to observe without drowning, to feel without being consumed. The universe encourages you to trust that balance. Now, if you are alone tonight, perhaps by choice, perhaps by circumstance, this part of the message is for you. Solitude during Christmas can bring an unusual quiet, a silence that feels heavier than usual. But Gemini, silence is not your enemy. It is where your understanding deepens. It is where your thoughts settle into something meaningful instead of chaotic. You may feel a longing for connection, yes, but that longing doesn't mean you are incomplete. It means you are human. And being human does not require constant companionship to be valid. Some years are about expansion, some years are about connection, and some years are about integration. This year for you has been about integration. You have been collecting pieces of yourself that were scattered, ideas, boundaries, emotional truths, and solitude has helped you hear yourself clearly again. The universe does not want you to rush out of this space just to avoid discomfort. Stay with yourself a little longer. There is wisdom forming there. As the year comes to a close, the universe asks you to reflect, not with judgment, but with honesty. Look at who you were at the beginning of this year. Look at what you believed, tolerated, chased, or ignored. And then look at who you are now. You are sharper, more aware, more selective, less willing to betray yourself for acceptance. That evolution matters, and it explains why this Christmas feels quieter internally. You are no longer distracted by surface-level joy. You crave meaning now, authenticity, emotional truth. The universe does not want you to silence that craving. Instead, it invites you to carry it gently into the next year. Before this day ends, allow yourself one small act of emotional honesty. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be public. It can be internal. Forgive yourself for the moments you didn't know better. Release the guilt of not meeting expectations that were never aligned with your soul. Acknowledge the strength it took to change, even when change cost you familiarity. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your awareness led you. And Gemini, one more thing the universe wants you to remember tonight. You don't have to carry everything alone, even if you are independent, even if you are private, even if you are selective. Allow yourself to receive, whether from people, from moments, or simply from stillness. Receiving does not weaken you, it restores you. As Christmas fades into night, let the pressure dissolve. You don't need to define this day as good or bad. Let it simply be real. If it was warm, carry the warmth forward. If it was quiet, honor the quiet. If it was emotional, trust that emotions pass when they are felt honestly. The universe is not asking you to promise anything for the new year. It is asking you to stay aligned with yourself, because alignment is where your power lives. Merry Christmas, Gemini. You are not distant from life. You are listening more carefully now, and the universe is still speaking, softly, patiently, just for you. If this message reached you, it's because you were meant to hear it. Leave a like. It helps this message find other Geminis who need it today. Share in the comments how this Christmas truly feels for you. Connection, solitude, reflection, or quiet hope. And if you want more honest messages like this, subscribe to Gemini Whispers and turn on notifications. You're not alone in your complexity, and the universe still has more to whisper.